morning before lunch, I'm going to ask Wilton to kind of take a lead on this portion of the program. So it's basically speaking to the role of kinship and clans within the Siksikaitsitapii nation. Anya, oh, good.
Okay, ik zo kwak. Nu sto ik ook wel op gekookse kindertje. Je Kainai koan, ook in ik ze staan maar mjoi. Ninna ni teitska. En ik zei nog nog Niitsitapi. Ook ik zei nog bij iets en ik kwa. Ik mocht ze ja, ik zei ik zo kwa. Ja, zo kwa en ik kwa mocht ik daar zei op. I'm going to speak in the language that we have all borrowed, the colonial language. It's all difficult every time our people come up here. Your thought process is in the language that Creator gave you. So every time we try to communicate, our thought process is in the Blackfoot way. Niitsitapi Siksikaitsitapii. And then we try and interpret that into something that makes sense using the English language. Difficult sometimes to exactly portray what we are trying to say because some of the words that we use in the Blackfoot language, there is no English term for it. English is, we call a shortcut language among our people. When I say, in English, good morning. And that's why when we say it's a shortcut language, it doesn't totally describe what you're feeling at that particular time. And that's why it's so difficult. But we'll try to explain in English the kinship, where that comes from. I grew up raised by my grandparents, and they made sure that I was surrounded by traditional teachers in every aspect of our traditional life. We go back, I've been all over the world and have yet to find a culture that is older than the culture of our indigenous people. Science has cut us short in terms of our beginning. Some of the favorite terminology that scientists will use, words like seemingly this was the way it was. Perhaps this was the way it was. Maybe this was the way it was. To those of you that spent time with traditional teachers, every time the grandfather, the older person, talks to you at the end of their story, they will always say, "Anya niitsio." This was the way it was. No speculation, no guesswork. Science tries to make our beginning in this world around the Ice Age, some 12, maybe 14,000 years ago. Science will try to make our beginning to a time in history that we refer to as imitotasiks, the dog days. But in the oral history of our people, that is only halfway in our traditional history. When the giver of life first put us on this land, he gave us a lifespan of 500 years. But we had no language, no social order, no way to celebrate or to honor the various gifts of life. When he looked at what he made, he said, boy, I made something really, really boring. These people can't talk. They have no way of celebrating life. Took away 400 years of our life, left us with 100 years. That's why when you hear many of the elders, when they pray, they will oftentimes say, Nakoksini ibipustreipsini. Nakokitotoki ibipustreipsini. May I see those 100 years that Creator gave us. In exchange for taking away 400 years of our life, Creator gave us language. Creator gave us order in our social systems, our social process. Gave us clans. The first ceremony that he gave us was a matushima, the smudge. Thus began the very precious ceremonial ways of our people. Among the Blackfoot Confederacy, there is always acknowledgement of a sacred kinship that the old people talk about. A sacred kinship between the universe, Creator's world, life that we are a small part of, and our connection to the land. When you look at our teepee designs, only the Confederacy will acknowledge that sacred kinship. The very top part of the teepee acknowledges the universe, Creator's world, and the middle part that we play a small part of, our connection, our relationship, our kinship with all of life. The four-leggeds, the ones that fly, ones that live in the water, ones that live in the land. The braid of sweetgrass that we use among the Confederation, 3 strands will always make the braid of sweetgrass. Always 3 strands, never more than 3. Acknowledging the universe, life, the land. So we have a sacred kinship with all things. Now I want to thank the hosts, the people of Niitsitapi, the Arapahoe Nation. Later on today we're going to be talking about alliances that we made with neighboring tribes, with tribes that we traded with. The reason we call them Niitsitapi, Komonoi, is the blue paint, the most sacred paint that is used in our sacred societies, the color of the wall, the pictures on the wall. That is the color of Komonoi. Comes from these lands here. Our people came down here to trade with Niitsitapi, the Arapahoe Nation, in order for us to access that very sacred color. From this area also come what we refer to as Ishtan, the obsidian, that we use for arrowheads, spear points. Again, our nations came into this area. Obsidian can only be found in Wyoming, particularly close to the land of the Arapahoe. As you were coming down, you probably saw a lot of the cliffs, especially closer to the the sacred springs that flow out near the community of Thermopolis. Sacred to our people, Kumonui comes from that area, ochre comes from that area, the obsidian comes from close to that area. So many generations ago, we formed a close trade alliance with the Arapahoe. So again, I want to thank particularly the Headley family that we are closely connected to. Later on, you're going to talk about the role of clans when Creator separated us into various clans. Those of you that have had the opportunity to attend our traditional camp every summer, annually we gather as a people, Akukats. People refer that in our language when the people come together in a big circle, Akukats. Every clan has a place to camp in that circle. Gatekeepers of that circle on the west end, the west gate, is Mamyogi. The people that we come from, the people that the Headley family is connected to. Gatekeepers on the east, the Niitsitapi, the lone fighters. From those two clans, as well as the leaders of each of the clans, the clan leaders, the ones that are responsible for walking in front when it was time to move, when it was time to go into an offense against enemy tribes, when it was time to go prepare for the winter, the annual hunts. The leaders of those clans, particularly the gatekeepers of the west side of our camp, gatekeepers of the east side. In our community, many of you have seen Okan, the Sundance Lodge. Many times refer to the camp as the Sundance. Sundance is only one ceremony that belongs to that traditional camp. Every clan has a responsibility in constructing that particular clan. In our community, there are 12 major clans. Thus, when you construct the Okan, it'll have 12 posts. 12 rafters connecting to the center pole. So every clan in our community had a song, had a way of bringing those rafters together to all connect to the center for common security and preserving our traditional way of life. Beautiful when you see that lodge coming together, and then every society has a role in that particular lodge. Each Kainai, maybe it's time to get off the mic. every clan had a song, had a responsibility to bring those rafters to all connect to that center pole. Maybe this is why in our community we have 12 chieftains, 12 members of our tribal council, and then we have one head chief, all connecting to the center, creating for strength in a common way. Thus, the whole community works together to continue to preserve a way of life that is long-lasting. After Creator took away the 400 years, and then He gave us different eras. He named different eras that we were to go through. Just very quickly, I will name some of those. Siksikaitsitapi, the original people, were the ones that could live 500 years. Then comes Niitsitapi, the first people, the people that were given a lifespan of 100 years. And I want to congratulate Mary Headley for reaching that 100 years. How about a nice round of applause? That was the intention of our Creator, that we conduct our lives in such a way that we would reach that beautiful age of 100 years. So following Niitsitapi, then you have Siksikaitsitapii, Api mags, Niitsitapi. There is a ceremonial moccasin that we use among the sacred societies, made with one piece of leather. It doesn't have a sole that is separate. That comes from that time, before we had Niitsitapi. Then the people started to use the sole. Then we had Niitsitapi. Our people domesticated the gray wolf some 25,000 years ago, the ancestor of all the dogs in the world, the gray wolf. After that, we had Siksikaitsitapii, the ones that used stones to hold down the bottom of their teepees. And as you travel throughout the territory, you will see teepee rings on the ground, acknowledging that time period in our life. And within the Blackfoot Confederacy, all doorways in the teepee ring face to the east. You will see medicine wheels, what they refer to as medicine wheels. Yesterday afternoon, they constructed a part of the wheel that we use, the sacred wheel. This one symbolizes our connection to this community, symbolized the Blackfoot Confederacy. We made an offering. People made an offering. I want to thank Patrick and his helpers for putting together that beautiful offering. So when we had the teepee rings, that was after the Ice Age. We survived the Ice Age. Scientists will try and tell you that maybe we ran across the Bering Strait. No such thing. You're wrong. Nobody ran across the Bering Strait. Not us, anyway. Science will also try and tell us that maybe we used to swing from trees. Not true. Not us, anyway. Maybe somebody did, but not us. Anyway, the Creator made sure that He left behind a footprint of the path that we should follow in terms of conducting a meaningful way of life. As you go around the country, you'll see petroglyphs, rock placings on the ground. Taught us how to learn from the universe. Many of our teachings come from the sky people. Taught us our connection to the animal world, the ones that fly, the ones that the four-leggeds, the ones that live in the water, ones that live in the ground. Songs, many of our songs, many of our ceremonies, many of our dances come from Niitsitapi, the various animals within our territory. So Creator made sure that He left a huge footprint for us to follow, and many of us have been taught how to read those petroglyphs to continue teaching our people the way of our people. Shortly after the era where they were used stones to hold down the bottom of the teepees, then comes the stalkags, the ones that use the teepee pegs to replace the stone to hold down the teepee. Then comes the kukags, the era of teepee designs. And this era dates back some 2,500 years. Again, the teepee designs acknowledge that sacred kinship, universe, life, the land. You will only find it in our Confederacy. Many teachings go with the teepee designs, that acknowledgement. Our connection to the bison, the buffalo. The American bison is called a bison because the newcomers, when they saw the bison, looked something like the water buffalo in Europe. Thus, they became the buffalo. But many of our teachings, the buffalo like us, the bison like us, did not migrate from the old country, what they refer to as the old country. I tell the scientists, this is the old country. That is a new country where you come from. Because our ways are much older than. We knew the dinosaurs. We knew what happened to them. We know the stories. We have a song that is perhaps the oldest among our people. Goes something like this. I'll sing a short. Scientists have been trying to figure out how old that stone is that we use in many of our ceremonies, belongs with many of our teepee designs, ceremonial people. If you look at Patrick's breast, don't look for hair. But look at his niskin. He wears it as protection wherever he goes. Scientists have been trying to put a date on that sacred item that belongs to our people. The only thing they can do is use their carbon dating to figure out how old it is. Somewhere between 60 to 70 billion years. an indication of just how old we are. So we come from a beautiful, beautiful culture, and we made alliances with, as I indicated, with many of the tribes where we get some of the sacred items, the beautiful blue color that we use, kumonai, only found in this area. You'll find it close to where the hot springs are, the sacred hot springs. You'll find the ochres over there as well. And you will find the obsidian all over Wyoming, actually. The, what we used for spear points. You will find flint, pastan, in this area. Again, a trade item that we came to trade with the Niitsitapi. Many things that are connected our nation to the Arapahoe nation. Some of their ceremonies are very similar to ours. So you will learn many, many things in the next couple of days about our connection, not only with the Arapahoe, but the interrelationship with the Confederacy, how we work together, and using those traditional teachings, how we become stronger and stronger. I want to thank all of the chieftains, Siksikaitsitapi, Siksikaitsitapi, Sultan, all the leaders that walk in front, leading us into a good way. So again, listen close as people will be making their presentations. I want to thank the drum group. That was a Confederation drum group, singers from every part of the Blackfoot Confederacy. It was nice to see. They all know those songs, beautiful songs. And that victory song that they sang, again symbolizing our victory over colonization, many of the things that tried to destroy our way of people, the way of our life. I went to residential school, spent almost 10 years there. Some of my schoolmates are here. But they couldn't break me at residential school. I was too savage, I guess. I had to serve food, worked in the kitchen, served food to the authorities. But every time I got into trouble, got sent out to the barnyard. We had livestock that time. Once I'm finished there, then I have to go back in and serve food again. For 10 years, they never knew what I was throwing in their soup and serving with a smile, especially when they asked for more. One of the early teachings that grandparents will teach us at a very young age is to take something that happens to you, painful experiences, negative experiences, flip it and make it work for you. That's what I had to do to survive that environment. It was a tough one, but we survived. And because of it, I think I got stronger. And many, many thanks to the elders that were around me to teach me many of those teachings. So it was a nice travel on the way down here yesterday. The day before, we had to celebrate my late son's last memorial race in Lethbridge. Siksikaitsitapii won that relay championship. And I drove to the border, then I got fired and told to sit in the back seat with the newspaper. I want to thank my daughter and my nephew Doug for doing all the driving coming down here. We got down here about 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So again, it's a real pleasure to be with all of you, all of the chieftains, all of the elders, the delegates that are here for the Confederation gathering. enjoy the next couple of days, and as somebody said before, I love you all. Thank you.